Martin. All right. Well, welcome to Sales Chat, brought to you by SalesPOP Online Sales Magazine and Pipeliner CRM. My name is John Golden. I'm the executive editor, and I'm based here in San Diego. And joining me is my colleague, Martha Neumeister, in lovely, warm Vienna today. Yeah, look, Martha's all bundled up, so it's a little cold over there. And today we're joined by Edwin van der Kleijn, who's in Birmingham in the UK. Welcome, Edward.
How you doing? Everything all right?
And he's got his Blam card. So just to let you know the format before we dive in, okay? It's a rapid 30 minutes chat, a sales chat on one subject. You can join in on Twitter, #SalesChat. And we'll answer your question. Martha looks after the Twitter feed, so if there's questions that come up, that she'll either answer them on Twitter or she'll interrupt us if there's some interesting one. All right, so let's get right into it. And let's welcome Edward van der Kleijn. And let me give you a little bit of background on who Edward is, okay? So his bio says 3D, and that's pretty cool, okay? So it's Dutch, direct, delivers, right? Yeah, all right, Edward, yeah. I was trying to come up with one for myself, like Irish, intense, in San Diego, but it doesn't really work, so I'll leave that one to you.
Absolutely.
Edward's high energy, high intensity sales and marketing activation specialist, using proven methodologies to generate 7-figure sales results, find new customers and get customers to spend more and spend more often, and more importantly, stop buying from your competition. Okay, so today, Edward, we're going to talk about telephone combat. Wow, that's an interesting subject. So let's just start off, right? So number one, why is it that people have started, number one, to shy away from the telephone and use the more impersonal email or digital media? And second part of that, how do you handle, if you do get on the phone, how do you handle those objections that prospects use to put the salesperson off?
Okay, so on question number one, do you want the harsh answer or do you want the sort of the nice answer?
In sales chat, we always like everything to be direct. So just give us the unvarnished truth here.
Well, the unvarnished truth is people just when you say shy away, I think you've used the right word. They're afraid of it. They're shying away because they're afraid of it. So. The key to good sales, and I think also the other thing is it's the core reluctance comes from not being prepared. So not having a plan or a process in place to actually deal with this call. Yeah, and this is why I've developed the telephone combat aid, because that is a defined process of getting through to the person you need to speak to. So if I'm going to call a business, and be real about this, you're going to sell them something, yeah? So that's the reason you're calling them. So if they then say, oh, is this a sales call? And you go, no, I was just wondering if I could speak. They go, gone, finished, yeah? Sales guy off. And then it's like, but you know to expect that. So then it's the next one, and you feel offended because someone's put the phone down on you. You don't want to make the next call. So be ready for the objections. I call it the rumble strip of objection. It needs to be because you're going to get it. You're going to drive through those rumble strips. If you're in business for yourself, and that you've got to learn to expect that. And it's the ones who keep on popping up, and keep saying, in fact, I was on the train to Birmingham today, and I had 10 minutes to spare before the train left. So I decided to drop in on one of my prospective clients.
Right.
Yeah. And, he said, oh, hey, Ed, how you doing? Yeah. So, sorry, I haven't done anything about what you've proposed. And I said, hey, look, Sam, it's okay. It's fine. Yeah. Look, I'll come back at another time. It's absolutely fine. You won't get rid of me. And he just laughed, because that, and be upfront about it. That's what you do. He's got something you need. You've got something you can sell them. So keep on going.
No, I love that, Ed, because it's funny. Our CEO did a speech a little while ago, and it was for most of the people in the room were in sales, right? And he asked the question, he said, how many of you have sales in your title on your business card? And not one person put their hand up, right? So everybody's kind of trying to come up with titles or things to sort of say, I'm not in sales. And it's like, if you put yourself on the other side of the table as a customer or prospect, you already know they're in sales, right? So it's how you handle the interaction. It's not like, let's not pretend I'm in sales. What am I going to do? Pop up at the end and say, haha, I'm actually in sales. All along, you thought I was just somebody who was calling you out of the goodness of my heart.
You're so right, and it's about being. I think the way that someone put it, it's being. It's being deliberately truthful about it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, which actually disarms it. It's disarmingly honest.
Right.
Yeah, because they're going to dislike you anyway. You're a sales guy, for Christ's sake. So you're a sales guy, so they're going to hate you, right? So. Hate me, guys. Yeah, I'm the sales guy, and then be funny about it. So when you say how to handle the objections, it's actually it's a destructive process. So I used to do door knocking. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I used to it was business to business sale, and you arrive in a reception area. Yeah, I mean you're just another suit arrives with a bag and some brochures, right? So the receptionist sees you coming. Yeah, they see you coming up the drive. Yeah, and they said, right, okay, this guy's sales guy, so just don't talk to him, just leave him alone, tell him we're not interested, whatever. And they used to trip over the threshold and drop all my stuff into the reception area. But they can't ignore you now. Yeah? I mean, and then you get oh guys, I'm so sorry. Look, I need to speak to Mike. Is he in today? Yeah, and then you just come out with a question. And this is kind of where I'm getting at in terms of handling the objection. I mean, don't ignore the objection.
Right.
Acknowledge the fact that that's fine. Even agree with them. Say, guys, I agree with you, but then sidestep it, and then be ready with what you're going to say. So in the combat aid, it's quite straightforward. So it's like, I understand what you're saying. That's absolutely fine. But look, let's just park that for a moment. Are you free on Wednesday or Thursday? We can discuss this further. And just sort of have the process ready. Your objective is to get them into an appointment. Your objective is to get the sale. So that's what you need to focus on. Don't focus too much on what they've got to say about it. But acknowledge it, have an answer for it, and practice that answer. So there's the classic ones, right? So you've got the classic ones. No need. Yeah. Right. So we've got no need. Well, you could absolutely be right. Mr. Golden. Yeah, but our services may well benefit your company, so I really feel that a meeting would be worthwhile.
Right.
Are mornings or afternoons best for you? Yeah, so that's one. Yeah, I'll think about it. Yeah, I'll think about it. Yeah, sure, certainly. Yeah, certainly, Mr. Golden. But do you remember you're under no obligation here? So I would suggest that you're in the best position to decide after we've met. Yeah. So what works best for you? Mornings or afternoons?
Yeah.
And having that ready, just be ready for it. And it's just going to go, what? Yeah. Okay, this guy's not going to go away. Yeah?
So how do you, because you do, we were talking earlier, right? Your business is growing. So, I mean, you've proven this and you do all your selling over the phone, okay? So, or you set up your initial appointment. So how do you qualify prospects and how do you know who to call and how to get to the right person? Because I think that's another one, another objection that salespeople put on themselves, right? It's easy to fire off an email. It's a lot more difficult to figure out, to find the right person, to make the calls, to make multiple calls and all of that. So how do you handle that?
Yeah, well, let me address this one. So, I mean, emails is great. Yeah, I love email. It's absolutely fantastic. And if I have got an event on and, I've got free pizza and free chocolate cake, and I smash out 1,000 emails, I'm going to get people turning up, right?
Yeah, throw in free beer and all my relations from Ireland will come over too.
but the thing is with emails, and it's a little bit the same with calls. I haven't got time for this. I'm going to receive your email, and it's just going to be another boring email. Yeah, it's not going to set the world on fire for me. So again, if you're going to send an email, send something that I'm not going to expect.
Right.
Which I'm going to, like the tripping over the threshold thing. Yeah. Don't send a boring email with stuff that you do. That's not what it's about. So so in terms of qualifying a customer, so if I'm talking to an end customer, I mean, we're in a slightly different situation, is that we advertise, people actually come into this. It's, we've done our audience definition, a big word, audience definition. Just park that one for a minute, because that you need to think about that. But if you're going to sell to a customer, whatever it is that you sell, you've got to have some idea that they're going to need it or want it. Yeah, if I go to well, it doesn't matter who it is, but the thing is, you're gonna have to have an idea.
Sure. No, and I think that's a really important point that you're bringing up.
You'll start the main calls. It's again, it's the preparation in terms of the process, and having a list of likely, and how do you get them to be likely prospects? Well, do some research, see if they've got a website, get the information, get to their LinkedIn profile, find them on Twitter, find out what they're into. Maybe people that they know and ask them. So just have information available about that, and before you make the call, so you can make a calculated guess. Because the worst thing is that you're going to go in with the most phenomenal solution, and they go, "No, sorry, already got it." Yeah?
Right.
That's a waste of a call. But if you need to find out, you need to go through a fact-finding process and just be honest about that. So like, look, I have no clue what I'm doing, right? But that's more like telemarketing. So you need to kind of, you need to have a process for that. So I'm going to phone the person. Are you the right person? Yes, great. So do you mind if I just take you through a few questions so I can find if there's any need for us to carry on, and have these lists of qualifying questions ready for them.
Yeah. So the important thing that I think that you're saying here at the beginning is to do your homework. But before you even do your homework, know what you're doing your homework on. So do your audience definition, do your ideal target buyer profile. And I think that's something that sometimes people skimp a little bit on, or they say, well, everybody's our ideal buyer. Well, that's not true, right? As we know. And I think sometimes if you pick a vertical, you find, customers that you have and look at, well, let's look at their profile, see if we can find other people. But yeah, I agree. I think the more work you do up front, the more successful you're likely to be at picking the right person to talk to, right?
Absolutely, and just always be qualifying that moment, because you don't want to waste their time, and you certainly don't want to waste your time, because you'll be running out of money really soon. So the key is to be qualifying. And so like, am I speaking to the right person? I mean, one of the things I learned very early on, because when I was an actual sales guy, I used to be in a car, so I used to have to drive there. So I'd have to actually spend money on fuel. So and it's time driving there. So if I'm going to book an appointment with a prospective client that's going to buy my product, I want to make sure that they're going to turn up to the meeting, and that when they're at the meeting, that they're actually going to be in a position to sign this off at some, with some degree of knowledge. So this is what I call the upfront contract. And I said, look, said, great. So we've established your need. We've established the fact that you're in the market for this product. Look, I'm gonna arrange a meeting with you today. But can I just clarify that when I get there, we're going to talk about it. Let's say in an ideal world, everything is going to plan, and it is something you want to go for. Are you in a position to sign this off? And do you have the budget to do so? And if then they go, oh no, I think I'm going to have to ask my boss to be here as well. And I said, well, look, to tell you what, Joan, I'm going to make sure that can you just ask him to be in a meeting, or can you just tell me that he's going to be there, because otherwise it's not worth me driving 3 hours down the road, spending money on my fuel, and my time to go and see you just to have a coffee for the sake of it, and it's just not going to happen. But it's having that attitude. I think that's what people are afraid of. And there's a great guy who's he talks about frames, the power frames, So they're designed for you to be in a subservient position, and I'm a CS guy, and you're not supposed to go out of place. And that's why I love the disruptive method, because I just bash in and get straight in there, right? Okay, so we're going to do some business today then, right? And everybody just looks all scared and going, well, look, where else are we here, right? It's just kidding. Come on, if you don't want to do business, let's have a coffee, and I'll be out of here in 5 minutes.
Yeah. No, I like what you're saying, Doug, because I do think it touches on a fundamental point, and one that we've driven a lot through SalesPOP and through the publications and the ebooks that we write, that I write, Nicholas writes, and our contributors write, and that is salespeople actually having some confidence in themselves, but also attaching a value to themselves, right? Because as you say, if you come in a subservient, you put yourself in a subservient position, you're not putting a value on what you're bringing to the table. So either you don't believe you're bringing some value to the table, and if you don't believe you're bringing value to the table, I don't know how you're going to convince somebody else. So I think a lot of it comes back to actually valuing yourself as a salesperson and what you have to offer to them, and talking as equals rather than as one being subservient to the other.
Exactly, and it needs to be equals. I mean, Bill Gates. I mean, if he were into golf, and I don't know if he is, but when he turns up for his golf lesson, the lowly golf pro who earns $30 for half an hour is the master of him. Yeah? So you've got to realize that you're in that position sometimes, that this guy might be the most successful business owner ever, but he needs you more than you need him. And that needs to be in your veins, that needs to be oozing out of you, because otherwise he's just going to swat you like a fly, and you're going to say, and it's really important that, but it's, again, it comes down to the preparedness of what you come in with. And that's it. Be ready to do the deal. I mean, I've had moments where I've come in and I've done all, and you think, well, I've got to go through the whole process to get this person signed up, and they sign. Actually, they wanted to sign up at the beginning, but you failed to ask the question. You failed to ask the question. So you've done the whole thing, and actually, they then say no, and you've kind of bought it back because you've talked so much about it that the guy's gone bored and he's just completely lost interest. Right. So sometimes qualifying is really important, and actually saying at that moment, well, look, is this something you want to go for then? Yeah, and then they go, well, actually, let's cut the crap and let's do it.
Yeah, we all love those situations. So listen, you mentioned earlier a couple of times, you talked about the upfront contract, right? So explain a little bit more about that and why that's so important.
Well, in terms of an upfront contract, you've got to get agreement on what is going to happen next. Yeah, and so you've got some particular reasons for having the meeting, which may be to gather information, to get business requirements in order to draft up your proposal. You need to have a meeting to chase the proposal and actually get it done, to get the agreement. So it is all in the sort of under the title of let's not waste each other's time. And if you take control of that and set the agenda, and say, look, these are the likely outcomes. This is the golf pro moment. You're taking charge, you're taking control. And if you're in control, then you win. And if you leave it up to them, and the thing is, this is why the whole reception area and sitting down and then go and grab yourself some water, and he'll be down in 5 minutes. That's all designed to put you in that subservient position, so you're not in control. Right. So when I get to the meeting, they tell me to sit down, I don't sit down. I said, look, I actually get my agenda form out, and I will put it in front of the guy who's going to make the decision. I said, this is what we're going to be discussing today. Mm-hmm. And I'm hovering over him while he sits down. Yourself in that position. It's the old Charlie Chaplin thing, in the barbershop, as the seats go up. And you have to do that. Because if you don't do it, you sit there and you wait to be told what to do, which is not what sales is all about, because you need to be telling him what to do, which is sign the contract. And it's you're now staging the process. It's your plan. It's your staging the process, and you're in full control. And then when they capitulate to that, they'll sign it off. They'll sign the deal because they know they feel they've got confidence in you, because that's what leaders do. They instill confidence in the subservient people. Right. So that's what an upfront contract is all about. So
So you'd advise salespeople, right? So before, so one of the things to do when you're setting up an appointment, whether it's in person, whether it's on a phone call, whether it's a go-to meeting, like over the web or whatever, is to set an agenda with expected outcome for it, right? So you're really you're saying up front, here's what we're going to talk about and here's what we're going to achieve through this dialogue.
Correct. Absolutely. And it's having it bullet pointed. Now we're going to talk a bit about the background. We're going to talk about the solution. And then say on there we're going to talk about the contract terms.
Right.
And then every time I say at the front, the meeting's going to take about 20 minutes, after which you're going to probably make one of two decisions. This is absolutely what you want to do. Yeah, that's great, and we can sign this off today. So I'm putting it in their mind that this is what's going to happen.
Right.
Yeah. Or look, we're not going to do it, and that's absolutely fine. So can you just clarify, at this point, are you in a position to pay for this right now? And then they say, oh no, I'm going to have to release some funds, or I might have to talk to the financial director. And I said, well, tell you what, let's cut this short right now, yeah, and we'll come back another time. I'll leave you all my paperwork. You can mull over it, yeah. And then I follow that up with an email with a link in there to actually book a space in my calendar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we have a system that is a booking system that books a space in my calendar, and if they really want to go for it, they'll click on the link and they book the time. If they don't, then I haven't wasted my time with them.
Yeah, so you've saved yourself. So that's a good point, because what we see a lot, or what I've seen a lot in the past, is sales cycles that go on forever and then never go anywhere, because I used to have this term called happy years. Because a salesperson hears things and then interprets them to mean something. It's like what you were just saying about budget. It's like, instead of saying, do you actually have the budget for this, asking it, they kind of, through what the prospect was saying, they come to the conclusion that sure, budget's available, but they've never asked whether it's available. But they think it's available, and then they go through this long process, and they get down to the end, and they say, are we ready to sign? And the guy goes, well, I have to go and see if I can find money for this. I really like your product, but and it never goes anywhere, and you've just wasted, I don't know, could be months, right, back and forth and all of that.
But this is not understanding the true value you bring. So if it's going to cost money, so business owners and people that run businesses are interested in two things. You've got to be aware of this. Yeah, they either want to sell more and spend less.
Right.
Yeah, so that's the two things they want. Both of those, spend less. So if you're coming in with a proposition for them to spend more money, by default, they're not going to be interested. Yeah, because they want to spend less. So if it's going to cost some money, they're going to have to get something back for that. Yeah. So if I'm investing in a CRM that's going to cost me 20 grand a month, I've got to know that's going to deliver something back, at least not the fee that it costs, but on top of that as well. So actually saying to them that, it's really worth you talking to me, because at the moment you're not doing this, yeah, or you're not doing it well. Yeah, and what we can offer you is going to improve that. So therefore, your return of investment will increase as soon as you've got the new software or the new CRM in place. And that's a key phrase. It's a key thing. So explain why you have the meeting. So the purpose of the meeting. So the main benefit of an upfront contract is no mutual mystification. Yeah, you are absolutely clear why you're there. And if you say that to them, look, let's just do this because I don't want to waste your time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you haven't got time to waste. I haven't got time to waste. Yeah, so let's just be clear. The purpose of the meeting, the agenda, and the expectations. You've got to be fair to them. How much time it's going to take. Yeah, and that's a key thing as well, because meetings can go on forever. You end up giving a load of free information. Look, if they want free information, you've got it there already. Yeah, you've got blogs, you've got SlideShare, you've got videos. Go kill yourself with all that stuff. Yeah, and come back to me when you want it. Yeah, and then also outcomes. Yeah, the outcomes should be decision to proceed or to stop the selling process. Yeah, or the prospect's final decision to buy or not to buy. So be clear about that. You're either going to buy it or you're not. Yeah. Let's be clear. Yeah. So if you're not going to buy it, should I really turn up for this?
Right.
You know, what else do you need to know? And then qualify this.
So you're actually selling.
Selling, just start helping.
Yeah, so you're agreeing, or you are establishing with the other person that there is going to be some outcome to the meeting. It's not going to be something vague, it's not going to be like, oh, let's meet again next month. There's going to be actual outcomes, regardless of whether that's a move forward or a no-go.
Yeah.
That's great.
Precisely.
Yeah. So in the last...
Precisely.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, in the last couple of minutes.
Now a little bit. The music should.
Yeah, I know. So in the last couple of minutes, Ed, what we like to do here is we like to get a little insight into yourself, right? So we want to know, what do you, Edward, do every morning to set yourself up for success? What's the one or two things that you do to get yourself ready for a day of success?
Well, actually do it the night before.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually do it the night before. So one of the things I do is I prepare my day. So it's come in from all over the world. So I prepare my call sheet. I actually have a call sheet. I actually do this on paper. Yeah, I write down the names. I will actually use the ticks of the number of calls that I'm making. Yeah, and then I've got the number of calls that I've made, the number of get-throughs that I've had, the number of meaningful conversations that I've had. Yeah, but so I put my call sheet ready, because that's the first thing I do. We call into South Africa, which is an hour ahead of us.
Right.
I work from home, so my children and my wife, they go on the school run. They're out of the door at 8 o'clock, which means that I haven't got time to prepare, because I've got to get them ready for school. You know, we do breakfast together. We had boiled eggs and croissants this morning, and you know, that's precious time. You know, I want to be there for my children. So, you know, but at 8 o'clock, I am dead on. You know, straight on the phone. You know, which means that it's 9 a.m. in South Africa, and I'm calling these people, and you know, I don't stop until I've started speaking to people. You know, we've got tons and tons of contacts, and you know, that's why it's good to have a record of contacts. You know, and so that's one of the things I wanted to close with. You know, which I learned very early on when I started up my business. Somebody said the size of your net worth is the size of your network. Yeah. So always be getting more people in. You know, always start talking to people, whatever opportunity you get, and you know, just you know, the moment you go silent and go within yourself and become shy, you know, about selling, what you know, selling is just talking to people. You know, just talking to people about what you do. You know, so we're Blam. We do websites and apps, and we sell all over the world. And you guys are pipeline and CRM, and you're helping companies make the most of their data to get more sales. So you know, that's what it's about.
So how can people contact you, Edward?
Just look me up on LinkedIn. Just look for Edward van der Kleijn. In fact, if you put Edward van der Kleijn into any search engine, you'll probably find about 6 pages of stuff that I've done. So yeah, you can't deny me. If you want me, then you'll find me. That's what I always say.
All right, perfect. All right, well, listen, Edward, it's been great chatting with you today. You know, I'm not going to keep you away from the phone for much longer. I know you got plenty of calls to make, or maybe you're winding down. I don't know, seeing as it's later in the day there in Birmingham.
Yeah, we're at 5:30, and we're actually at a grand opening of the Alpha Tower. So the Alpha Tower is an iconic building here in Birmingham, and they've redeveloped 2 offices for co-working. So this has become the funky new place in Birmingham. So yeah, if you're ever in Birmingham, come and visit us. We're going to have an office here. So yeah, looking forward to that. Yeah,
because I think last time I was in Birmingham, the major attraction was Spaghetti Junction.
Spaghetti Junction, yeah, but to be honest, the whole of the city centre is just dug up at the moment. And in fact, most of the builders are from your part of the country. We've massive Irish community here, and the St. Patrick's Day parade is a big thing. It's a massive thing in Birmingham. Yeah.
Yeah, well, absolutely. We love digging holes. We love digging things up. All right, thanks.
It's been fabulous, and thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it, and thank you, Martha. Thank you, John. I look forward to speaking to you soon.
Yeah, thanks, Edward, and thanks, Martha, for keeping the Twitter chat going. Good, nice activity today.
Yes, really. So no questions, but one really great insight. You don't have to forget that you always have to pay attention on the customers, so on the customer trends, and then also always update with marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good insight. Yeah, because customer trends, customers change. They're just like the rest of us, changeable.
You said it.
All right, thanks, guys. Again, this is John Golden with Martha Newmeister. This is Sales Chat, brought to you by SalesPOP, online sales magazine, and Pipeliner CRM, the world's most visual CRM, instant intelligence visualized.
Bye.
Bye.